Good morning, honorable ministers and sisters from Ghana and Liberia, Director of IMF African Department, Director of UN Women East and Southern Africa Regional Office, distinguished representatives from government institutions, guests from development partners and civil society organizations, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Government of Rwanda and on behalf of the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, allow me to welcome you to Kigali and thank you for accepting to choose our country as a venue for this important dialogue. Special thanks go out to the organizers of this conference, the International Monetary Fund, UN Women, the Uongozi Institute, and of course, the team of Government of Rwanda for making this possible. The Peer Learning Conference on Gender Equality that is being held in Kigali during 3 days aims at sharing best practices on gender equality, creating a forum for policymakers, gender advocates, and civil society to exchange information, approaches, and successful initiatives designed to close gender gaps, it was said by our predecessors, hence creating foundation for future collaboration. My country, Rwanda, is pleased to share experiences with you in the gender equality journey. In Rwanda, over 2 past decades, we have seen much progress in gender equality and women's empowerment. Let me tell you that these gains came from our country's good leadership and strong political will from the highest top leaders and across all government institutions. From this note, allow me to commend His Excellency President Paul Kagame for his relentless efforts to promote gender equality and women's empowerment. His tireless efforts towards championing women's rights have been vindicated by his nomination as a He for She Global Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, women accounts for more than a half of the world's total population. Therefore, women form a dominant part of the society and have to be at the center of all initiatives, policies, and programs. Women's rights are for critical importance to Rwanda and Africa as a region for equitable and sustainable development. The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi left our country devastated. Women took up new roles as heads of households. They actively engaged in restoration of the security and in the rebuilding of this country for its socio-economic development. Since then, gender equality and women's empowerment are one of the fundamental principles well articulated in our Constitution, and my government is committed to accelerating the promotion of gender equality, which we consider as a factor for sustainable development. Gender equality has been integrated in all national development frameworks and is now a cross-cutting issue in all development sectors. This political environment has enabled the establishment of legal, policy and institutional frameworks to enhance gender equality and women's empowerment throughout the socio-economic and political spheres. I thank my sister for having highlighted some achievements, but I can add on what she said that these achievements include the law governing land, which grant equal rights between women and men on land access, ownership, and utilization. This land reform allowed 26% of women to own land and 54% to co-own land with their spouses. The land ownership is one of the critical and historical transformative opportunities that have been achieved for women economic empowerment in Rwanda. It has allowed poor and traditional marginalized women to be able to access loans using land as collateral. The financial inclusion for women has been increased from 36% in 2012 to 62.9% in 2016. Worth also is to mention the law governing persons and family, which was recently enacted to remove all discriminatory provisions against women which existed in the old law. We have also in place the law governing matrimonial regimes, donation and succession, which provide equal inheritance rights to both girls and boys. The law on the prevention and the punishment of gender-based violence and the Penal Code punish marital rape and addresses GBV in all its forms. The law regulating labor in Rwanda provides for equal opportunities and equal pay for women and men and prohibits sexual harassment in the workplace. The establishment of the national gender machinery institutions, the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, the National Women Council, the National Commission for Children, Gender Monitoring Office, and the Forum of Women Parliamentarians are a catalyst in the changes registered today in terms of gender equality and women empowerment. As a result of these efforts, women's representation in decision-making position has greatly increased. I repeat, women's representation in parliament stands now at 64% from 48% in 2003. 40% in the cabinet are women, 46% in the judiciary are women. In education sector, gender parity education in primary and secondary schools were achieved, and the net enrollment of girls in primary school in 2015 reached at 97.4%, while girls' enrollment in TVET schools and higher learning institutions in the same year was at 41.8% and 42.4% respectively. In relation to health sector, access to health care considerably improved for the last 23 years. Maternal mortality ratio fallen from 1,071 per 100,000 in 2000 to 210 per 100,000 in 2015. Community health insurance coverage reached at 92% in 2010, while the number of deliveries at health facilities increased to 91% in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwandan women continue to play an important role in the community, mediation, and conflict resolution structures. Their contribution even goes beyond the Rwandan borders, whereby they actively participate in peace-building initiatives in other countries. You know very well that Rwanda is among the leading contributors of female police and army officers in UN and AU peacekeeping missions. We have them in South Sudan, in Haiti, Mali, Central African Republic, to mention but a few. With these few examples of the achievements, there can be no doubt that Rwanda is well on the path to gender equality. However, much remains to be done in the gender agenda. Some cultural and religious beliefs are obstacle to principle of gender equality. Poverty remains a key constraint as women still constitute the majority of the poor. Women's limited skills and capacity for employability, insufficient high-quality data on a gender disaggregated basis across sectors, and so forth. Strategies and programs have been set up by the government of Rwanda to deal with the above highlighted challenges. As I conclude, I'm confident that the following 3 days will be an opportune time to learn from each other, to share strategies that can be adopted to advance gender equality and women's empowerment, hence to eradicate all inequalities and discrimination against women. This requires joint efforts by African states to ensure African states and the whole world to ensure that women and girls are regarded as equal partners with men and boys in shaping our common future. I want to reaffirm the commitment of the government of Rwanda to advance the socio-economic transformation of women in the framework of the Agenda 2030, and permit me to quote our President, Paul Kagame. I quote, "Women and men are equal in terms of ability and dignity, and they should be equal in terms of opportunity. As Rwandans, as a global community, we need every member of our society to use his or her talents to the full if we are ever to reach our development goals." End of quote. I thank you so much for your kind attention. I wish you a fruitful meeting and nice stay in our beautiful city of Kigali. I thank you very much.